Hello everybody. So I am not a big channel out there, and I don't have a whole lot of followers and numbers out there, but I do work pretty hard on my videos. I have documentaries and interviews and even recipes if you go far back enough, news videos about health. I mean, literally, I've done a lot of different types of content and people are curious. They ask me the question. So this video is for you. They ask, what does it take? Like, how can I produce content? What technology do I need? Can you, Corey, make a technology course, a Mark Passio How to Be the True Media course, but in your own way? Well, Mark sits down with people one-on-one and teaches people how to use computers for like the first time ever. He's usually working on a Mac, okay, which I don't usually recommend, first of all. But either way, I think it's incredible that he does that. He calls himself a teacher of teachers, and ultimately we all are, right? Through showing by example and putting out content, other people become inspired. And I think those of you who watch my videos, who are curious, who want to also share the message and find ways of delivering that message. And so I know it can be a struggle sometimes if you're new to different technology or apps or really anything in this life. And for me, I grew up with it, so I have a bit of a bias. Okay, I started out with a gaming channel when I was about 13 with Bandicam, recording videos. You can go back on my other channel, Cuckoo TV. I even had a lot of views on that channel because it's gaming content, and I had some Windows tutorials on there. And basically, you just see me gaming, very simple, not much editing, but that little bit led the way to where I am now. In the same way, I also had a website then for the guild, which I ran in World of Warcraft for that channel. So it really prepared my way. And I was also making websites throughout school because I was half public, half cyber school. I was making websites for math students and for all sorts of different purposes, just playing around with it, having fun. So the whole process of me learning was something that I did out of enjoyment and fun, which is something that is very, very important if you're going to get through the process of learning something new, right? Is making it fun, making it engaging. And so we have a lot of this to decipher and to look at the nuances of. I made a whole specific document, it's about 2 pages, about content creation, and I can update this over time, all right? So I'll have it in the description below. This document goes over everything you need, and I'll just give you a brief overview of everything this document goes over. Now, if you're expecting from me a tech course where I go in detail, like how exactly I edit a video and stuff, I'm open to the possibility. Let me know in the comment section below. But for now, this video is just an overview of everything that I do and have, and I even have some videos of the past that I've done already on some of this matter, so it's linked within this document. But basically, this is my content creation credo. Easy yet professional. Like literally everything I do, and I guess you can add cheap to that if you want, is very low cost, very, very easy, and yet somewhat professional, right? Because I'm not using the best tools imaginable to do what I do. I'm using like literally the simplest tools imaginable, which means this will probably be very helpful for you, just telling you outright. Because I don't want something where I have to learn in so many years at a time, and I could for certain things, but I don't find myself having the need to do that. Like I feel like the content I produce is sufficient for what it's trying to do. And that's not to say I can't improve, we all can improve, but really that's more so for me a matter of what I am actually filming. Like for instance, I plan to do a lot more real life events and filming the events and doing interviews with people in person. And so that just shifts the whole thing overall. It's not so much I think my editing is the problem, rather the content itself. Okay, now you have to work through a lot of this on your own, and it might sound complicated when I put it like that. And it's going to sound complicated when you hear it from any content creator. So you really got to take things from baseline. I'm going to help you with that. This document does that in the very beginning. Okay, but just so you know, my credo, easy yet professional, but the learning curve is up to you, and it usually comes naturally upon your interest. And personal learning and care contributes to personal investment and better content. I know Mark Passio sometimes makes it sound like it's a drudgery, like you gotta produce content. It's like, oh man, the world needs to be free. They need to learn what right and wrong is. It shouldn't be like that. Really, you have to care about the content you produce. You have to enjoy it. Otherwise, it just simply will not sustain, okay? If you're doing it just because you have to do it, it's just as bad as the order follower who does what they're told, okay? And you don't want to be on the inverse side of that. And this, by the way, is a common trait you may notice among people who escape a mindset or have an awakening. What they fall to, which is this awakening, may not be any better than the cult that they were previously in. And we don't want to fall back into that pattern of behavior. We want to live with our authentic self. So this is the content creation core tenets, okay? Be unique and authentic. You can do both, okay? Because naturally you are unique. So you have your own gifts and talents. This was what gives you a lot of purpose and drive. When you realize and tap into that, okay, and be passionate, be energetic. You look at a lot of content creators, and a lot of their content is rather short. I know mine's not always the most short, depends on what video you watch, but they're passionate, they're energetic, they're fun, it's exciting, or they're getting your attention. And so this will happen naturally when you see the vision and how healing the message that you have to share and what you're doing, how impactful it is. It draws upon that energy and you're like, where is this coming from? Ask Jim Gale or myself, where's that energy coming from? What gets us to do this and be able to do it so well? It's like, it's just naturally because we've developed that through learning from others and engaging in that learning. And over time, it just starts to come about, right? Like, for instance, did I practice on how to speak this on camera? Did Jim Gale practice? I mean, not really. He read a bunch of books, but he says the most important thing is not really in any book. It's presence. It's being able to like reflect and be on that creative side and look at the bigger picture. So, you can't really get advice on how to raise kids properly or how to change the world and all this stuff from a book or from a single text or from a single thing. And many people may attribute certain things to that, but you have to find out what works for you. There can't be fear or self-judgment because you are your own worst critic, your own worst judge, and you can't ever give up either, okay? Don't ever give up on content creation because not every content creation is for everyone. And you, like I said, you got to find out what works for you, which means that there's no need to give up. You just got to find out, like, it could be putting out a short, it could be doing cooking content or art. It may not be any videos or seminars at all. It could be local networking and event planning, right? I have a whole events page on theliberator.us for you, right? I create these resources for you. I create the summit and the showcase for you so you can get out there and share your message. And I hope it helps you, right? I'm doing what I can, again, as not like a huge creator, but trying to help other people who are starting out. And I've given a lot of personal advice, like one-on-one on email. Anyways, back to the document at hand. I don't want to go off track. You may even do stuff that gets filmed, right? If you do in real life stuff like on the street interviews, or like I said, only doing 1 minute shorts is usually effective nowadays. And some people just straight up only have a channel on YouTube, for instance, of 1 minute shorts. They don't even have regular videos. The internet likes attention grabbing, silly and stupid stuff. That's just the reality. It can be quite simple too. I don't know what just fell. Do not presume content must be a certain way, okay? So generally, this is a rule of advice: higher risk, higher potential reward, okay? You look at Mr. Beast, you look at all these guys like, I gave $5 million, I competed this, look what I did. It's all very out there, okay? So higher risk, higher potential reward. Remember that. Do not do anything stupid, like too stupid, okay? Questions for vision. So this is really where you need to hone in, okay? And if you want, and like I said, go to the document and think about this for yourself. Maybe journal the answers to these questions. What are you passionate about? What content creators do you follow? What can you do different from them? Or what do they do that you like? Anything they don't do enough of. What inspires you? What makes you unique? Can you have fun and not take yourself so serious? Very important, by the way. Are you willing to just try putting out content, however it may be? Right? So these are the things to bear in mind as we move forward. And again, I want you to reflect on those questions. The main resources I use, a video editor, is Filmora. Okay, a good example is my channel, or Realization. He does a great job, and he puts a lot more time into his videos, so you get less videos, but a lot of good quality content. Realization, I'll have him linked in the description below if you haven't seen his videos. Very well done, uses the same software that I do. And CapCut is also very good, also great for mobile and for subtitles, like when there's words on the screen. Others that are also free, by the way, is DaVinci Resolve, Shotcut, or Kdenlive, and even iMovie, right? iMovie is, of course, Apple exclusive, but iMovie is very simple and gets the job done. I haven't ever used it. My sister has, and her editing came out pretty good. So, I mean, really, it's just a matter of what you enjoy, what you're willing to learn and experiment with. And experimentation is truly the key in all of this. Okay, video recording, I use OBS. Okay, or Bandicam. OBS can be used for multiple functions. Many streamers and content creators use this. It is also free. Others, and for meetings, right, because you're going to be potentially doing interviews or talking to other people, you can record on Zoom, whether it's yourself or other people at the same time, and Jitsi. Okay, and cheap yet effective tech products. C920 Logitech camera. It's a webcam that you put on your computer. Very cheap, yet pretty good. This is what I'm using right now. I even had a better one than this before. I don't know where it went. I think my sister took it, but it doesn't matter. It looks pretty good. The other one had like 60 FPS. This one is 30. 60 is preferable, but you can deal with 30 FPS. Most of them are. You don't need 4K, by the way, 1080p. And if you're curious about reducing the file size, your video files, if it's like an hour long, it should not be like several gigabytes. You may think it should. A lot of people have like these huge files. They send me these videos. I'm like, what are you doing? You can barely notice a difference. Just lower the bit rate. That's all you got to do. If you lower the bit rate, it lowers the file size. You don't have to change the resolution or the frame rate, just the bit rate. And a lot of my videos are done in 4,000 or 6,000 bit rate, by the way. A lot of people have like 8,000 or 15,000, and then they wonder why the file size is gigantic. And certain platforms won't even let you upload beyond like 2 gigabytes, okay? So something to bear in mind for platforms like Brighteon or BitChute. I use a Klim microphone here. People say it sounds good. I use a Razer headset, and you can modify the sound and video with OBS settings. I do that so that way it looks a little bit better. And if you want, resources on how to modify your camera, your audio, I'll link a really good channel in the description below. The most expensive but necessary for productivity is a gaming computer. You need to have a gaming computer, in my opinion, to do editing, for everything to be snappy and fast, whether it's Windows or Mac or whatever. Well, Mac's not usually gaming. Just it needs to be powerful enough to do what you want to do. And I'm just afraid Mac is not going to help you run everything that you might need in time. If you plan on doing fancier and fancier things, like Mac is okay. I don't recommend it though. And it's fun to maybe play games, and Windows can do anything. So having MSI parts is good. Having a good GPU and good VRAM is also ideal. Photo editor, Photoscape X. I use this for all my thumbnails. I use it for a lot of flyers. I've used Google Slides a little bit for like slides and also some flyers, but Photoscape X lets you do anything. It's very easy to use, and I would recommend it. It's free as well. Google Docs or Notion for note-taking. It's important that when you're on the road, when you're out and about, to just take notes if ideas come to you, which, if you're reflecting, if you're a content creator, you're probably going to get into the habit of thinking all day and all night what content to produce if you're truly in it for that. For me, I found out I absolutely am addicted to content creation. It's like basically part of me, and I don't know why it is, right? But it basically, and it's not for ego reason, it's just like I want to put out content. For me, this is like my children, the books and the content, and I feel productive. I do, when I put out that content, and I feel like I'm helping people. And I think you will see the same thing. If you're in it for those same reasons, and you'll be thinking all day about different ideas. You want to have something that syncs automatically to a cloud that you can access on any device. If you're just using like the Notes app on Apple, I was using that for a long time. There was no undo button, it stunk. So Google Docs is good for that. I know I'm recommending some Google stuff, but that's simply because it works good, and you have to do what works. But Notion is an alternative. It's just not as fast, and I've noticed it deleted some things that I didn't want deleted. Overall Office program, only Office is best. Again, free. Everything I'm recommending is free or super cheap. LibreOffice is the alternative, but I highly recommend only Office. That's literally how I made the document. Mail, you have to use Gmail because most people are not going to get your emails if you're using Proton Mail or Disroot or whatever else. And I have a Disroot, I have a Proton Mail. The problem is, like I said, it's not going to go through all the time. Website editor, I use Wix. Very easy, drag and drop. You don't want WordPress and all these other trash ones that give you a lot of limitations, that have a lot of complex, like you got to find the right setting. Just keep your life simple, drag and drop. That's what I recommend. Don't use GoDaddy to buy a domain. Use whois.com. They run the security on the internet. You can buy a domain through them with the security, and they even give you several accounts for email. I think it's a steal, and there might be even better options than Whois, but just don't use like the mainstream providers, please. And then I have a whole bunch of tips, like clips of other creators, compiling them together, mentioning other influencers will definitely get more people on your channel. I don't do that enough because I just don't want to. React videos can be very effective. Getting editors, especially if you live stream for at least 3 hours, like every day or often. It could also be used to promote your live streams. This is how a lot of live streamers became big. And channels like Asmongold puts out like 10 videos a day. So he is just absolutely making a lot of traction. Claudie AI is good if you need AI tips for different things. I haven't ever really used it on my channel, but I'm realizing how powerful it can be for little video ideas or title fixes, or even like, hey, what tag should I have in the video, or hashtags. I'm starting to experiment with some of it, but I'm still not using it for any videos. You absolutely could if you wanted to, and soon a lot of people will, and people will probably be expected to, for being honest with this. And I don't want you to fall dependent on it, but just know it's there as a tool to help you in your natural intelligence, your natural expression. Learn how to handle drama. This is important as a content creator. You don't have any obligation to respond to haters, and you want to be unaffected and take no offense, because people will seek attention. They will project. They want your response if they're trying to attack you. And they're likely not a content creator themselves putting out that work. So it doesn't mean you attack them and say that as your response. Sometimes I'll use satire if it's really something silly, but if it's actual criticism, I think that's awesome. And only address what really needs to be addressed. Frankly, show by example, attract, not attack. Very important. I see some content creators who literally, there's a bunch of them on the internet that just make a living attacking other people, and that is their content. And it works because they're talking about other people, but it creates a very toxic environment, a toxic community, and you don't necessarily want that. Okay, people start to expect it, it comes back around your way, and that's not the greatest thing. You want to utilize mainstream platform-friendly practices like no copyright material. You can use Pixabay or Pexels for photos and videos, and even copyright-free music, right? I even use some tracks from audiotool.com, which is a place where I produce some music myself. And if you have to, you feel like you should, medical, education, legal, or fair use disclaimers in the description or the video. If you feel like that's going to help protect your channel a bit more, it might, perhaps. I don't know. There's many YouTubers who do, and content creators. Don't stick to one way of doing things. Overall, experiment, then you can repeat what does work. The successes. Do not rely on interviews or podcasts, as these do the worst and are lazy forms of content, only to be used after other forms of content. From my experience and what I see from a lot of other creators, they put out a book, they put out a seminar, they do something big, and then they do interviews so they can talk about it. But they don't just do interviews right off the bat. They're putting out their own content. They have something to show, to bring people to, and that's very, very important, okay? Very few channels are just like, okay, I'm going to invite this other person on. You know, they usually have something of their own to share. Now, you also want to learn from mainstream channels like Asmongold. Ludwig are good examples in the social realm and dealing with social issues. Jason A, Motivation Manifested, True Meaning, they're good examples for like clips and bringing them together and like mini documentaries. Very easy to produce, by the way, and very effective. I don't do enough of those because, again, I have my own preferences of what I enjoy doing. Alex O'Connor, Jordan Peterson, they're good education examples. You know, their content isn't the most out there, challenging, energetic, but yet people watch it. So something to bear in mind. And, you know, you can say, well, some of them are promoted by the algorithm, whatever. I do find their content pretty engaging myself, just for the intellectual ideas and how they display it and the creative ways they do to use to share that information. You want to use alternative platforms: Brighteon, BitChute, Rumble, Rockfin, Odyssey, etc. But those are the main ones. Highly consider the 1-minute clips that could be posted on Instagram Reels, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. Do personal outreach to others, and you can also use Twitter and X. Very important, and that's why I've been doing that more often lately, producing less content, more outreach, because I already have a bunch of content. Use a newsletter on your website. I use MailerLite, otherwise you can use Telegram or a social media page or channel to update people. Make sure you have backups of, your content. Always very important. And that's it, guys. Other than that, I have a bunch of videos, like one on tons of resources, 6 unique strategies to really grow your channel, stuff that I am still implementing or haven't implemented yet. The problem with attacking others, I have a video talking about what comes around goes around type of thing, is like, it's going to come back to you. Interview on content creation. I did one with Autonomy, the course, which talks a little bit about how to create content. Tips for content creators. I made a video about that, and being a controversial creator causes some issues. Permaculture and voluntarism. Basically, these are the solutions of the future I see. I highly recommend getting involved with this because you want to make money in your pursuits over time. Perhaps maybe you're thinking, oh my gosh, I can make a living doing content creation. I wouldn't rely on that so much, but maybe if you get together with your community in real life and use content creation as part of it, I think it's absolutely possible. That's what I'm doing. I actually got investors through doing events locally, and now we're getting land and doing amazing things. So I already, just in the beginning stage, already proved that it's possible. Creating a summit. This is something I did that had more followers than my own channels. So it was that successful because it brings people together and actually brought a lot of connections together. Great boost for small creators. I created a whole tutorial about how to do that. I even have a video on how I turned my book into different AIs. So you can ask, the AI, like, hey, make a video based on my book. It's technically still my book, so I could make a video from it using AI. But again, I haven't done this, but it can give you ideas and scripts and something where it's like, maybe you want to feed a bunch of information. Maybe you want to give it like Mark Passio's information and then have it make a video. It's you still putting in the work of making the video. It's still editing it. And hey, as long as it looks good and it gets the message out, you win, right? No matter how you did it. It might be some way of cheating the system, which at the end of the day might work better anyways than somebody like myself who's trying to do everything by myself. So again, it's likely the future anyways. Publishing a book, I have a whole tutorial on that. I have a video on natural law tests that I made. I actually made test sheets and question sheets where you can actually even make your own show out of it. I have a video on that. The Liberator.us as a whole has a database you can be a part of, local networking, a newspaper which you can contribute articles to, and different ideas of content creation and outreach. I have a video on the problems of veganism. This is a hot topic in Mark Passio's community. Figured to put that on the document as well, simply to show a different perspective. Again, my conclusion on this is conscious dieting, not any particular label or identity, because that always traps us from our potential and from nuances and seeing the different things that happen within our lives. Okay, so consciousness of everything that goes on, and then amplifying your efforts through a movement, which is why I created Nita.one. I created that site so people can take the flag or the logo or direct people to that site. You can even make your channel name Keith, nature is the answer, or Kevin, nature is the answer, or whatever. Doesn't matter to me. It's your movement too. I created that for everybody. And then even did a video on Telegram and how you can use that and maybe even organize it better so you're not confused and not lost. All right, so there we go. 25-minute video talking about my tech course. You can see the video already went pretty long, and I just went over an overview of everything. But if you have specific questions, you want to be sure to email me or message me or write a comment somewhere, and I'll be sure to try to help you. I try to look at all my different comments and keep in touch with people, and I could always use help, but I'm always willing to help others first and foremost, right? If the most selfish thing we can do is to help others, and so be selfless, let's do that. And there'll be a lot that comes from it, just opening that door and starting up that foundation. Once you get the ball going, it starts to get easy, and you start being like, wow, okay, concentration, I know what to do, I got a schedule, boom, 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 right? You just got to start. You just got to do it. You can't be afraid. Okay, so read over the document for yourself, and I hope this helps all of you out there who were curious and said, hey, Corey, make some sort of course or something. This is for you. Thank you very much for watching. Corey, nature is the answer.